Welcome back to the B17 vlog number 8, and today we're going to take a look at the rebuild of the BC-348. Let's get started. So welcome back to the B17 vlog number 8, and this is the test bed, which is just a mess, but it's a test bed, so it's okay. We've got lots of antennas here, and we've got the new version, and we've got the old version here, which has, the on and off switch, and the dial, which was kind of cool, but it didn't work in multiplayer properly. And what this was made of is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little monitors. So what I wanted to do was rebuild the radio system, and you see all those antennas bouncing around right there, to be more like the B17 intercom system. These are older versions. And so the idea is, if we come over here, we have the new radio system, which goes into the radio operator room. And what this does is this guy can control all the channels if we want. And these will be the little clients that are at the different stations. So there might be one in the nose, there might be one in the pilot station and the tail gunner, and so on. And so these clients are set up, but this guy goes into the radio room with the radio man. And so they all hook up and are able to speak on these, and they can hear each other, but they can also listen to other channels. So let's go ahead and turn on the main radio. And as you can see, it lights up. We've got our power indicator. Now, there is a bug right now. This one is supposed to light up now that the power's on, but I've been making a lot of changes because I haven't quite finished with some of the channel features. So we're not releasing this today, but I wanted to go ahead and show you, the state of it and how it works. Okay, so what you can do here is we can change this to the left, and this is the compass rose channel, which is actually the radio detection finder channel. So back in World War II, early on I guess, they had these radio towers that would send out a signal from the different airfields, and then they could triangulate somehow, which I don't remember exactly how it's done. I think it's done by the bomber itself, but I'm not positive. But they would triangulate where that signal was coming from, and then they would have a compass rose, which was like an indicator that would point in the direction of the airfield that they tuned into. So right now we're into 1725, and if on the island I had the airfield set up with the radio antennas, we would know to fly, that way, whatever. So that's not set up, but it is implemented in this radio. So the next channel is the liaisons channel, and this was used to talk to, I think, Bomber Command and other airfields, I guess. I'm not really sure. The documentation's a little bit scarce on exactly how they use different channels, but it is in the manual. So you can tune this to different channels, and you'll see that this changes to red. That means you haven't sent it out. So I don't know if this is going to work because things are broken, but if we send it out, it turns green. And if we come over here and change this to liaisons, you'll see that this is now 2500, 2500. And you'll also notice this is blacked out because this client cannot change this frequency. It can change the command frequency, send it out to 3100. And if we go to command frequency, you'll see we have 3100 here. So everybody in the bomber will be listening to 3100. The only station that you can do something different on is if we go to the interphone, which was used for the bombers to communicate. By the way, I think command was for bomber command. But anyways, the interphone was used to communicate inside the bomber between the different positions. So we can have position 7, and I can check that. And now this one is at frequency 7. But if we go to interphone over here, you'll see we're still on 8. So these two guys would not be able to talk to each other unless we swap it and go ahead and go like that. So this was only internal. They couldn't actually speak outside the bomber, but since I did several tests, and the best way to do this was having just one antenna for each client. I tried doing relays, I tried doing different things with different antennas. Didn't really work out. So I ended up doing the one antenna per client, and so regardless of what channel you're on, you're gonna be speaking at a pretty large distance. So there is that side effect of how I'm doing it. But this is not a simulation, this is a game, so I think it's acceptable for this to work like this. So the final one that is not implemented yet is call. So what call did inside the B17 is once you clicked over to call, it would let you, whoever selected call, speak to all of the other clients, all the other interphones actually, regardless of what station they were on. So if they were on command, listening into command, call would overrule that, and they would be able to speak to everybody at the same time and pretty much say, like, let's get the heck out of here, let's bail out, or call out like fighters incoming or something. But yeah, so I haven't got this implemented, but the way it's going to work, and the way it did work, is this was actually on like a spring load. So once you put it on call, it would stay on there and then it would pop back. So the way I'm going to do it for this bomber is when you put it on call, it will overrule all the channels, so you can speak on all of them at the same time. And then after 5 seconds, it will automatically pop back to the interphone. So I think that's how I'm going to do it right now. At least that's how I'm going to do it. So before we jump into the editor and I show you kind of how the chips are set up, I want to show you that I have kind of encoded the World War II frequencies that you would be able to use on this radio, and kind of like the different bands. But instead of like having this button change the bands, because I'm already kind of like out of room for code, what I did is it's predetermined what bands you can use, and if you go out of that site, like 13,000, it turns red, and then it won't let you send in that frequency. So that's kind of how I worked around it, but I think it's a good trade-off. The only thing is you don't know which bands are available, so I'm gonna have to put like a little notepad or something so that you know which bands are available for each channel command versus liaisons, etc. But yeah, so if you go too high, or you go into some band that's not familiar with, it doesn't like it, it will turn red and you can't send it in. Once you fix it, send it in, command over here, now we can talk to each other. So yeah, so that's how this works. Again, there's some bugs here. There should be a light on right here. And also this should be glowing. I don't know what I did. I must have broke something when I was updating the code, adding this call. But anyways, let's jump into the editor. All right, so now that we're in the editor, you can see that I have a mess here. But what I want to show you is we have over here, we have this chip, which is the server. The server is pretty simple. All it's doing is bringing in the different frequencies that are being set and then propagating between the client. So here's a client and here's a client. Now the clients are set up so that you can go ahead and do your push to talk button. So it can be from the seed or it can be from the button on the panel. You can't see it, but there's a button right there for the panel. So this is set up so you can change your push to talk button, which goes from the seat, or it can go from a button on a panel. And then also on the chip, we can set, can we edit the radio compass frequency? Can we edit liaisons, command, and interphone? And like we just flop these back and forth to say which frequencies we can change on our client or our main radio. So the main radio, of course, this guy, the big guy, he can pretty much change any frequency to whatever he wants. And I think the pilot and the navigator had the ability to change more frequencies. I don't remember. I have to look it up still before I set it up. But I think they could, like, edit the compass rose, and like all the other clients couldn't, because, that would tell them which direction they're going. So yeah, there's that. So the final setting is selecting the type of client. So it can be the BC-348, which is of course, the giant radio, or we can set it to the interphone, which is the smaller 1x1 client. So let me just show you that real quick. If we set it to interphone, you'll see that we now have the interphone client on here and on there. Now it'll still work on here because if you noticed inside this chip here, I've got all these little settings here, and these are all pretty much XY settings for the different elements of the interphone. So what happens is, and actually let's just swap into there so we can see what's going on. This is my tester, and this is my toggle for the BC versus the interphone. And as you can see, when I swap them, all of these have switch boxes, and it's swapping the X coordinates so that I can move the different things and use the same chip for everything. And then over here, we have a video for the interphone, which is different elements than the BC-348, which has more graphics. And as you can see, it's swapping the video signal from this chip to these chips, which is going into the main Lua, which is right here, which is controlling all of those interface elements. So I wanted to have one chip that could handle the client and the BC-348 and just swap between element positions and video content on the screen. So hopefully that makes sense, but that is how it works. So I think this is it for right now. This is not ready for release. Obviously, I've got some bugs to fix with my power settings, and I've got the call button that I'm trying to implement right now. So that's it for today. I just want to show you this and let you know I'll be releasing this probably before I even get into B17. So yeah, you'll be able to download this and put this in your bomber, and I guess you'll be able to beta test it since there's no one to talk to here. Although I did go on the multiplayer server and go ahead and broadcast a radio station, and it seemed to work pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with this, and hopefully you like it. So that's it for today. If you haven't done so already, hit the bell so it goes ding dong when I upload a video. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And call me on the interphone.